All right, everyone, welcome to the IWX webinar number 7 with First Down Financial. My name is Steve Vettorel. I'm one of the managing partners of the firm, and along with Steve Ruff and our other 9 employees, we operate out of the headquarters here in Orlando. We are a nationwide registered IMO. One thing, if you guys, I appreciate any patience you guys had over the last couple of days. The Zoom technical difficulties, which always seems to be the fault of Zoom, right? Nobody ever assumes fault. But for some reason, the webinar couldn't go off yesterday. So I appreciate everybody having patience. We'll make up for it today and crack some jokes and teach you guys some good stuff. So again, I would encourage you at some point, and I could certainly show the screen here. So I'd like to welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, my name is Steve Vettorel. I'm with First Down Financial. I'm going to talk to you guys for probably about 15 minutes today on why we're different. A lot of people come to us recently saying, hey, I heard about you guys. There's a fair amount of buzz in the industry. What makes you guys different? We're going to talk a little bit about that today. So let me share one of a bazillion screens I have here. One thing I would encourage at some point, maybe towards the end of the presentation, feel free in the chat window to ask any questions you may have. And I can go through this here, maybe answer any questions on the fly or towards the end of the meeting here. I've got the chat window up. So if you're having any technical difficulties or the screen's flickering, typically the best way to do is just log out and log back in. I typically will suggest everybody do it in a Chrome browser. If you're on a desktop, it's usually the best. But either way, so First Down Financial, we are essentially the formation of a RIA, long-standing RIA, myself, and a long-standing insurance group in combined essentially to form First Down. We have, let's just say, hit the ground running. The concerns that myself and my partner, Steve Ruff, who is our president and CEO, have had in the past is that many of the IMOs that we were connected with, they didn't really help us to the degree that we felt they should have, right? Even though in the case of my partner, Steve Ruff, he's a big producer. He's done in excess of 20 million, many years in a row. We really didn't get the attention or any of the expedience, if you will, from illustration standpoints to all that. So when I met Steve a number of years ago, we were just sort of complaining about all the other IMOs we were with. And at the time, he was running the mentor program for another IMO, very successfully increasing a lot of production of agents. And, between Steve and myself and a bunch of other people, I said, well, hey, why don't you guys just form your own IMO? And we basically met, put together a strategic plan. And we said, if we're going to do this, we have to do it differently than everybody else. And it has to be an agent-focused IMO. So we set out. I actually moved my family from San Diego to here in Orlando. It's actually been a great move. Really looking forward to continuing to live in Florida. This is a great state. And essentially, in terms of the agent-focused IMO, on slide 2 here. So here's the thing I've heard out there in the marketplace. I've heard, well, Steve, honestly, everybody says they're different and this and that. What are you going to do for me that another IMO hasn't? And very simply, the answer is you're not captive with us in commissions. You're paid direct from the carriers. We don't force you to move all your contracts, right? There may be a carrier or two you're with a particular organization that's giving you something for having that. That's fine with us. You get 100% comp based on personal business and leads that you purchase at cost, which we do offer. So we have multiple proven lead systems built into the award-winning CRM that we use. It's actually a great system. So non-captive, I mentioned. We have trip incentives and contests. We actually just closed one down in October. Winners got a $300 electronics gift of their choice. We have cutting-edge training between myself and Steve. We've done a lot of production in both AUM as well as annuity, life, and in many different areas of tax specialty in some larger cases. So that's what Steve and his team, before I merged the companies, were sort of known for. And the most important thing that I feel that makes us different in terms of what we offer is right here. And it is helping you to close business and share our knowledge of all the time we've spent in this. I can go on for case study after case study of agents that came to us and said, Steve, I have a book of X. Some cases it was a Medicare book. Some cases it was a book that maybe wasn't as productive as they wanted it to be. And we have double teamed with them in many meetings to help close business with their clients, and in some cases with prospects. We do the same for lead programs that they may belong to. We do in-house case design and fast illustrations. We ask that it's just turn in a fact finder if possible. We have our own, along with statements from the client ideally. And we'll create a one-page sales sheet that helps close the business. And this really, on the last bullet point, is the big thing that I want to stress, that since I came to the group now as minority partner, and it has actually improved my business because I no longer have to mess around with it. I'm going to show you this a couple slides further in, but I no longer have to mess around with getting into a 22-page or plus illustration with a prospective client. And it gets laborious, it gets really involved. And a lot of times, all it does very simply is push the sales process off. And one thing that really made this group successful before First Down here is that they did this for a lot of their partnering advisors with their mentor program. So nothing really has changed. It's just that we are doing the exact same thing with our own IMO. Okay. And like I said, keep the questions coming. If I see a couple popping up, and if you want, we can answer them at the end, or you guys can always send me an email either way. So we believe at First Down that to act in the best interest of the prospect, this is one of the most important things to us. I would encourage everybody, as I throw a challenge out to all prospects, and whether we're helping an agent or just some of our own prospective clients, because we are and will continue to be producing agents, take a closer look at us. It's First Down Financials. You see at the bottom, inc.com. You could take either my name or Steve's name and drop it into Google. You can see all the awards we've won. You can go to Broker Check. You can look us up to the end of the earth. We don't have one complaint against either of us in 30 plus years collectively in the business. And that's because we believe in the best interest of the client. Okay. So, but as I mentioned earlier, given too many pages, it lengthens the sales process and it just makes it more of a long drawn out process. So we offer top-notch customer and agent service. All agents get access to a dedicated team. We have teams split off among 4 experts that act essentially in a sales fashion. These are all experts, including myself and Steve, that actually help and work with the agents. So unlike a lot of other IMOs, you never got to talk to, in many cases, the 2 or 3 or 4 people that were the top brass at the company that were really good producers in many of their cases before they ever started an IMO. You can actually call us. You get both of our cell phone numbers. And unlike a lot of firms, as many of our colleagues will tell you, and certainly our partnering advisors, we answer the phone. That's actually a big deal with us. So the ability to discuss cases with licensed agents on staff, all illustrations and what we call a sales package will be sent out in 48 hours. Typically it's earlier, but we do ask if you could please give us full information. We have a really good fact finder. It's very quick to fill out. And we provide updates on cases. Now, here's where I'm going to take a bit of a victory lap. We've been in business for a little bit less than 2 years as an organization. This year, funding wise for our advisor partners, we have in excess of a 95% funding rate for what's put up on, let's say, the sales board, right? Lack of a better term. That is a big, really important thing that I really feel, at least from my standpoint as a person concerned with previous IMOs, that a lot of the spaghetti that was thrown on the wall, it just didn't stick. And a lot of that has to do with how the new business department operates. We have a number of people in new business, which continues to grow. They talk to the carriers about every case every 2 days without fail. If there's no updates, so be it. at least we're on top of making sure corrections and everything gets turned around real quickly. And we've got all of our advisors, pretty well plugged in. As soon as corrections come out, they're on it. I mean, they're getting the stuff returned. We're getting it fast, with the exception of Athene. Really is just something that we feel we have a lot to offer. But a lot of you guys are attending this, and I would say if you're not watching the screen, please pay attention to this, because I promise you, you just implement just this one thing, right? Always just a few things to tweak the sales process. It will help your production. Okay, it's a one-page sales sheet. So utilizing the one page, we've closed a ton of deals. It's just an example over the last few months. This number is actually closer to double that now, but I haven't updated a PowerPoint. But essentially, nothing breaks down the pros and cons of an annuity like a basic spreadsheet, right? Highlighting product performance and comparing against other investments. So this is an example. We have a number of different iterations of this sales sheet. And I see the questions stacking up, guys, so I'll get to those. I do see them. This may be difficult to see from a screen size standpoint. And actually, let me see if I can try and make the sheet a little bit bigger. Let's try that. Maybe a little easier to see this way. Here we go. So on the left, in many cases in the orange, is always the client's current investment. If it's a replacement of an existing annuity, we'll do an IRR, an internal rate of return, and a trying to see what the internal performance has been. We've got all kinds of systems we can plug it in, similar to like a Riskalyze for annuities that allow us to generate either on an ROI or an IRR basis. Many of these FIAs, especially past 10 years, have really had quite dismal performance, and they can be replaced with a much, much better product that isn't going to have index crediting options ratchet down after year one, right? That's been the biggest complaint of some of the early policies. So we'll have that on the left as current investment in orange, and then the recommendations that we are making on the right. So we can have a couple of recommendations, just one, depending on the state and the product, obviously, whether we're replacing with some sort of bonus product to get past a small surrender charge. So we take a number of and a multitude of factors into consideration when we're putting these illustrations together. Now, in the center will, in many cases, be the income. When it's going to start, it's usually like some sort of shaded out area, and then we start the income. So in many cases, the illustrations we provide, there's significantly higher growth in both cumulative income or just an increase year over year, plus the value of the current investment, okay? So if there's any fees, that will be denoted on the, and then obviously the growth of the product, which you can see down here. May not be the easiest to see these numbers, but the concept is what is important, because the client sees on the left their current investment or maybe what they're considering, right? And then they see the recommendations we're making on the right. And in some cases, we'll have 4 columns of recommendations. In this case, for simplicity, it's just one. So here's an example of a different one-page sales sheet. Again, client's investment on the left. We assume whatever rate of return that you guys want. So if you say to us, well, I just want a return with a market correction, a lot of our current investments have been, in terms of presenting, we're ratcheting down because of a market correction, especially if the client's in like an equity portfolio and they've taken a hit, showing current investment dropping down to some lower level, in this case, 15 or 20%, even though the S&P and NASDAQ get corrected more than that. And then how the investment grows compared to what we're recommending. So we have just oodles of case where an agent will come to us and say, hey, I showed this one page. The client said it was really easy. They'd rather go with the green or the blue and replace their current investment. Great. And it makes the process a lot faster in terms of showing how growth is, right? This isn't really any sort of magical way that it's built, but we're taking real numbers from the illustration. None of this is fairy dust, right? These are real numbers coming out of the illustration, I think, just presented in a much better way. And we can have a couple of charts for a second or third page if the client wants to get into the detail. And honestly, which I may not have necessarily the time to talk about today, but the other real groundbreaker that's setting us apart from a lot of other advisors is what's called an asset map. So I don't have the slide built, but I guess I could open it in a different, on a different screen. But you guys could also Google it because they tell us to try and keep these presentations to real quick. But in any event, the real game changer has been presenting the asset map to a lot of prospective clients. It is a one-page, and actually, you know what? Let me stop. I'm actually going to stop sharing here and share a different screen. And I'll open this up. All right, so to protect the innocent, I'm going to open up a asset map. This has made such an impact on meetings. I just really think that it behooves every agent to take a look at this. And the other cool thing is that drop it back now, reshare this screen. This is just a brochure that Asset Map gives out. But essentially, it's seeing your full financial picture, making better decisions about what matters. So obviously, there's a 2-page that this can actually be sent out to any client, by the way. But the cool thing is on page 1, this is the asset map. Now, it's not the easiest to see. I can actually send you guys out some examples that we put together with samples. But the cool thing about this is one thing I've absolutely seen that this asset map does that's different than the rest of the industry. 1, it gets you in meetings with bigger clients. And 2, nobody has had anything presented to them quite like this. It's a groundbreaker. These guys have won a mass load of awards in the RIA space. We've just decided to use it in the IMO space for agents' clients, right? You don't have to be a 65 to present this. But the cool thing is it puts everything on a single page, every single investment they have. Real estate, equities, bonds, annuities, any kind of life product that has cash value, any kind of other significant asset, right? Other real estate. We can even layer over this an entire business. It is super slick. But what it does is it helps the new emerging category of what's called client engagement. And when you get the client engaged and you get them interested in completing a map in its thorough and accurate form, you find in many cases a lot of other accounts that come out that you did not know about. And this has been real powerful in meetings. And, you know, it's like a running joke here at First Down that, hey, did we do an asset map for Johnny? Yeah, we did one for him. And we found out he's got another 600 grand somewhere else, right? So it's been, you know, and it's funny because I'm not a fan of ancestry, right? I mean, which is really kind of what this concept's pulled from. But a lot of people I've shown this to, like, oh man, this is great, right? It's not a recommendation to the client, which is cool. It's just framing their current assets in a way that maybe they've never seen before. And we can actually connect, which is totally cool. All the brokerage accounts they have, especially if it's something that's heavy in equities, we can connect to a Riskalyze score we can build for them, right? Now, one thing I would sort of, in the interest of getting the deal closed and not having too much paperwork and all that, what we'll usually suggest to an agent is, hey, let's do an asset map. Let's do just a basic, you know, map. In some cases, it's a lot more involved than what you see in the picture. This picture can be considerably larger in scope, and that's fine. And get that presented to the prospective client or client in this case, and then we can move to helping build a proposal or a recommendation from that with a 1-page sales sheet, or you can present them in the meeting together, right? In the case of us, we're a little different also because unlike a lot of IMOs are saying, well, you know, get us a fact finder before your second meeting. We actually disagree with that. Why not, if you have a lot of information on them, date of birth, assets, just generally where they're positioned, qualified or not, you can actually complete a fact finder and then go into the first meeting with not an asset map, but go in with an illustration and a 1-page sales presentation, right? It's different, right? And then it already plants the seed, depending if you've done a deep enough dive, which hopefully you have, right? Getting full information on the client, and so forth. So that's kind of really all I wanted to talk about. Those are the things I wanted to cover. This is on the screen. You can certainly give us a call. If you do want to call the office, give me about 5 minutes, if you would, please. I got to answer 2 texts and 3 other emails I got on this, but you can also send me an email at steve@firstdownfinancialinc.com. This is our office line right here, 407-542-7232. If you guys are interested in joining, but I want to thank everybody for attending today. Sorry if I've drawn it out, but I think this is important stuff that can help you close business. So let me take a look at the questions. Yeah, we're appointed with all carriers. Nationwide is one of them, obviously. Global Atlantic, yes. I just would, the concern we have had with a lot of these carriers, American Equity, I mean, you guys know the story, right? We want to find a product that, you know, everybody has an FIA and they're all claiming they got the best caps and they got the best bonuses. And, you know, but when you peel the cover off of the boat, right, and you see mold all over the seats, right? Like this beat up boat I went and looked at the other day, which is a waste of my time. You know, you saw a different type of boat. And the concern I have is you want to make sure that you're dealing with top carriers, which is not difficult. We have the best contracts out there, but we approach it from a perspective of an actual RIA that is an IMO, that is an RIA, if that makes any sense. So we go into this, and you see a lot of my presentations to clients from a strategic asset allocation standpoint, trying to be very simple in the discussion, but then the client already can tell, wow, I'm being presented a proposal in a much different way than I've ever seen. And this has gotten us multiple 7-figure clients, in some cases, a couple of 8 figures, with a couple of big agents we're working with in Silicon Valley. And it's just a way to get in the door, really. So the marketing process is, we have about 7, this was the next question, marketing process. Depending on the agent need, we will work with the agent to mine their book. As you know, everybody in my office gets sick of hearing me say, and probably a lot of advisors, you know, there's gold in them, there hills, right? There is. You just got to know how to mine it right. So we know how to help you mine the book. Please trust me on that answer. But as far as marketing process, we use a really cool CRM system that's fully automated called High Level. And High Level goes out and markets a whole variety of different programs. We also have 3 other vendors we work with that are really putting out some good stuff right now. In the case of the one vendor, this is probably going to come as a shock to everybody, including me. They have a program that actually walks prospects down the path of an annuity. So it doesn't mean they're ready to buy. It just means in some cases they have been brought down, you know, a partial or whatever path of self-discovery that an annuity is something to look at. And I could tell you from the standpoint of the current environment, Fed's raising interest rates. You heard what Powell said the other day, right? It's just the other day, yesterday, when they raised rates 75 basis points, we may be going more. Market gets nervous and boom, we're down a whole bunch the last couple of days. So as we tell constantly all of our advisors, every single client that you have, that you know has a significant equity portfolio, this is a call that we be making. Just like a call, we just got another fact finder. It's a large 401k. She's got absolutely clobbered. And this is a conversation we're having Monday night with a prospect. And I'm basically going in and saying, you know, what's going on with your other advisor? You know, you're getting killed in this equity account. We have a lot of really good safe growth strategies that can help you. And so that's kind of our marketing process. All right, so I answered that. You guys have any other questions, feel free to send an email or give us a call, but I'll go ahead and end the presentation here, and everybody's got stuff to do, so I want to take up your day. But I want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, my name's Steve Vettorel. We are First Down. We'd love to have you. Have a great weekend. Go vote.